If you're looking to apply for a US visa in 2025, whether it's an immigrant visa or a non-immigrant visa, many things have changed in the past few weeks alone. Location of filing, whether you need to expose your social media or not, medical requirements, and all that, and even the specific countries. The embassies, the US embassies in those countries have different requirements. I've gathered all this information, this video, and I'm going to give it to you the way it is. All the information that you need to do to be successful in your visa journey in 2025. Hello everybody and welcome back to Immigration Channel. In this video, I'm going to give you a full update of what's happening in every US embassy around the world that we can gather in this video. What are the requirements and what are some of the changes that you need to know as you're applying for a US visa in 2025. We'll talk about the new requirements that literally came to us in the last 5 weeks, changing location of filing, requirements for social media, medical exam requirements, and all the things that you think you know, but you don't because you haven't watched this video yet. So let's jump and start with the general requirements. As of November 1st, 2025, you no longer can apply for a visa unless you reside in the consular district where you apply. For example, just a few weeks ago, before they make that change, if you reside, for example, in France, but you're currently visiting the United States and you want to apply for a visa in Canada, you could have done that. Canada would accept third country nationals, and it was very easy to apply for visas like E2 and F1 in Canada, but it's no longer possible. You have to apply in the district where you have residency. Now, this is important for you to understand because if you make an appointment and you don't have residency in this country, not only you're going to be rejected, but also this rejection could be on your record as a visa denial. We're not aware of this fact until recently, but a few clients that actually went for an interview in a third country, they had those appointments scheduled. They allowed them to show up, but then they denied their visas, and that considered to be a denial on their record, which means that if they had an ESTA in their record or anything like that, it was canceled. So guys, be very careful because if you don't qualify to show up for this interview, the denial will be very bad for you because you won't be eligible to apply for a new visa unless you go back to your home country, which is, again, you need to do it from day one. But people that didn't know that and received denials, it created a record of denial, and it's, again, will impact your entire immigration history. Number two, guys, if you're applying for a student visa, FMJ, you have to set your social media to public. If you show up for this interview and they look at your social media and it's private, your visa will not be issued on that day. Okay, guys? It's devastating because people went through that process, showed up at the interview, they looked at the social media handles, and some of them were private. Those visas were canceled. So be mindful right now. If you go for interviews, make your social media public if you have any social media. Number three, guys, you know there's a travel ban. There's over 12 countries that are banned from coming to the United States. I've made quite a few videos on the topic of travel ban. We have links in this video about which countries are banned. If you're from one of those countries that are banned, do not show up for the interview, even if that interview is scheduled, because you're not going to be able to get the visa unless you apply for an exception. And again, there are exceptions. So before you attend that interview and you're coming from a banned country, speak with an attorney to make sure that that's not going to be a wasted visit. Remember, guys, you no longer need the COVID vaccine when applying for any visa. So that's good. So don't be stressed about that. However, there's going to be some new rules impacting health. Those of you that are going through some obesity issues, cardiovascular diseases, there's going to be some new regulations that will limit you from getting visas. I'm making a whole new video about this coming very soon, but just be mindful. So let's go through all the countries we have today on our list and understand what has changed, what does not change, whether the embassies are open or not. Before we jump into the roundup of all the countries that might be relevant for you if you're applying for a visa, I want to ask you a big favor. If you're watching my videos and you have not subscribed to my channel, do this right now. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos, and also give us a big like so YouTube will be able to show this video to more people just like you. As always, if you need help with your immigration matters, send me a text somewhere here, 619-483-4549, or go to www.immigrationsap.com. Leave your details, and one of our team members will contact you ASAP. Starting with Vietnam, the US Embassy in Hanoi resumed all routine visa services. They issued K1 visas, CR1, IR1s, and this embassy in Vietnam used to be a great place to send third country nationals, but now with the new changes starting November 1st, I can't send anyone anymore to Vietnam unless they reside in that country, which probably will be a good news for those of you from Vietnam because the pressure on the embassy over there will be less and your visa applications will be much faster. Moving to the United Kingdom, the US Embassy in London is working as usual, issuing a lot of E2 visas, issuing a lot of I1, K1 visas, and other visas. Again, they're not going to see anyone unless they have residency in the UK. And when it comes to E2 visas, they have specific requirements for how many pages and how this application is going to look like. So be mindful if you're applying for an E2 visa in the UK, it is very different than those of you applying in Canada and other countries in Europe. Remember, all E2 visa applications are embassy specific, so make sure you check your embassy. Going back to Ukraine, the US Embassy in Kiev resumed routine visa services. It's not working regularly yet, but it does some K1 visas, it does some CR1s and marriage cases, as well as some business visas like H2Bs and some tourist visas. It also resumed processing of some student visas, but again, it's limited capacity. Be mindful of that if you're applying in Ukraine. Moving back to Thailand, the US Embassy in Bangkok resumed routine visa services. But again, Thailand is not taking third country nationals. They used to. Right now, you have to be a resident in Thailand, which means either you have a student visa or work visa or any other way to live in Thailand. And I know many foreigners have residency in Thailand. So if you have residency in Thailand, you will be able to apply for your US visa in Thailand as well. I know a lot of our European clients also have residency in Bangkok for work visa purposes or retirement. So you guys will be able to apply for visas at this embassy as long as you can show proof of residency. The US Embassy in Moscow, Russia, suspended all visa services. If you need to apply for visa and you're from Russia, you will continue to apply for your visa at the US Embassy in Warsaw, Poland. Nothing has changed in that respect. Moving to the Philippines, Manila, US Embassy in Manila resumed routine visa services, but there's a caveat here. If you're applying for a visa in Manila, but remember, because of the volume of cases in Manila, if you don't have all your original documents, they're not going to interview you. They're going to send you back. So please prepare your packages properly and show up with all original documents. Otherwise, you're going to lose the interview and it's going to take a while to get rescheduled. Manila is very, very strict on that rule. Moving to Nigeria, the US Embassy in Lagos resumed routine visa services, but they're not working normally, meaning that because of the huge backlog, they are prioritizing cases. If you are married to a US citizen, if you are coming for national interest, particular physician cases and stuff like that, they will prioritize those cases. But it's not working smoothly because it's a huge backlog. Also, there's a change in Nigeria. You have to visit the embassy twice during your immigrant visa interview. One is for document review, and the second one is for the actual interview. And this is a policy that will expand to other embassies and consulates in 2026. Moving to Mexico, all U.S. consulates and embassies in Mexico resume routine visa services. Ciudad Juarez call center over there is very backlogged. They're doing K1s, they're doing family petitions, marriage cases. If you have a waiver case, make sure that you don't schedule your interview until your 601 case is approved. Otherwise, you're going to waste your time. Moving to Israel, the U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv resumed routine visa services. They're now processing a lot of E2 visa cases because a lot of Israeli nationals who were doing those visa interviews overseas are now all funneling back to Israel. You got to be patient at Tel Aviv. Moving to India, the U.S. Embassy in Mumbai resumed all visa services, including K1s, CR1s, IR1s, and also non-immigrant visas, student visas, H1Bs, and all kind of other cases like that. Again, you have to be careful because it is a backlogged embassy, but they're doing pretty good with respect to student visas and other non-immigrant visas. Remember, if you're trying to get an interview waiver for a B1, B2, it's all been centralized in New Delhi. Dominican Republic, guys, the U.S. Embassy in Santo Domingo resumed routine visa services. All cases are being processed, but they're not going to see any more third country nationals like they used to. So if you are a resident over there or you have residency that you can prove, you can go ahead and schedule your interview in the Dominican Republic. Canada, the U.S. Embassy in Toronto resumed routine visa services, as well as other consulates in Montreal and other cities. But once again, unfortunately, Canada will no longer take third country nationals unless you have residency in Canada, which will include also a student visa. So if you do have a student visa status in Canada, you'll be able to get a US visa there too. Moving to Afghanistan. The US Embassy in Islamabad, Pakistan is in charge of processing cases from there. So make sure you contact the embassy as your interview is scheduled. And for our Pakistani clients, embassies in Pakistan are working normally. There is a huge backlog. If you're going through a CR1, IR1, K1 cases, be prepared for a severe backlog. You can still try to expedite. They're really working hard to process those cases and not to discriminate against people that have been waiting for too long. Now, if I missed your embassy, I apologize. Send me in the comments, let me know which one you want us to review, and we'll try to get some more information about it. If you need help with your immigration matters, send me a text 619-483-4549 or go to www.immigrationasap.com. Remember, we're coming to the end of the year very soon. Things are going to get really busy at embassies and consulates, so prepare early, have all your original documents in hand, and please check the requirements of each embassy so you don't waste your time in the interview. Once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.